Hey guys, Jeff with OptionBoxer.com. Back again with another video. Gonna take a bit of a break from some of the options conversation for just a minute, or just for this video anyway. Before we get into anything, please know I'm not a registered investment advisor, and this video is not a recommendation for you to buy or sell any security or place any trade. We're going to be talking about some fundamental analysis in this video, and particular fundamental analysis on different stocks or different equities. And I don't want you to think that I'm trying to sell you on any particular equity. Just make sure you're doing your own research prior to trading or investing. So what I have on the screen here is what I've kind of labeled as my investment analysis, and it's essentially what I use it for. And I've kind of left big lots in here. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to run through kind of what this sheet has on it, tell you where you can get it, and then I'll kind of time lapse the video, and I'll complete an entire one without talking. And that way, if you decide you want to slow it down to see kind of where I'm getting the information and see what I'm putting in here, you can do that. If you don't want to, you can of course fast forward to the end of the video or turn it off, whatever your preference. But if you like the video, or if you like any of the videos I create, please do like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me, and I appreciate it. But again, I've got big lots in here. I was looking at them a week or so ago. Their share price has actually rebounded this week along with the rest of the market. But you can see when I was looking at it, it was a pretty good buy if I was able to get $30 a share. And I'll tell you why I say that once we kind of go through here. The general information, I've got it kind of broke down into sections here, is price, shares outstanding, price to earnings, 52-week high and low, daily change, dividend, market cap, all the different fundamental criteria that you would need. Then I've got some things from the balance sheet, some items from the income statement, statement of cash flows, the free cash flow specifically, and then just a little bit of a technical analysis, just looking at the 200-day moving average on both the weekly and the daily time frame. Kind of run through these notes here. Essentially, these notes right here are what I used to kind of guide my decision making over here on the right hand side of the screen, and I won't go through each one of those. You can see those there if you're interested in them. And essentially, this came from a number of different sources, how I kind of cooked up this little note section. So you may or may not find value in the information here, but I do, and so I use it. And again, it's kind of those notes that I use to create this comparison analysis, which basically just results in a true-false statement. And then I count up the true-false statements to give me a buy or sell decision or a hold decision. You can see a number of the different financial ratios here: book value per share, financial free cash flow, per share, dividend yield, PE, sales growth, and so forth and so on. Maybe two that you haven't seen as much or heard about as much would be buyback yield and shareholder yield. And the buyback yield is essentially the company buying back its stock. And then the shareholder yield is that buyback yield plus the dividend yield to give you a shareholder yield. So essentially, how much bang are you getting for your buck? And so I like to see a high shareholder yield there as well, as you may note here. Greater than 15%, and in this case it is. So Big Lots was able to get a check mark for that box. But that's basically what the sheet does. Before I kind of stop talking and start going through looking at a different company, there's a couple other things I want to show you. So the first thing I did to be able to find companies that I even want to take a look at is I just did a quick scan on Thinkorswim. And the first one I did is I clicked add filter. I added a fundamental filter, and then I wanted a dividend yield that was current and greater than 2%, and then anything higher, of course, is a bonus. The next one is I added a stock filter for the next one, and then the last price I just wanted something above 25. And since I don't have a $100,000 account, I wanted it to keep the share price low so I could buy as many shares as possible if I found something I really wanted. And so I just maxed it out at 50. You, of course, can select whatever you want. Then I added another one, an option study here. for open interest in case I wanted to trade this using a poor man's covered call, which I do quite often. If I was bullish on a stock a little bit longer term, I want to be able to trade poor man's covered calls on it in case I don't have the capital available. So I just wanted a minimum of 5,000 open interest, and admittedly, this doesn't work the best because it's only going to find, let's take QQQ for example. If this was an illiquid stock, which it's not, it's a very liquid stock. You can see there's plenty of open interest here. My understanding of the open interest metric here is that it's just going to look at any different contract month or any different strike price, and as long as one of these has an open interest of over 5,000, it's going to return it in the list. So you will admittedly get some stocks in this list that don't really have great liquidity, so just be mindful of that. And then I want to look at the average volume. I just use the 50 period simple moving average is greater than, I think, 1 million. Yeah, greater than 1 million. So I just want stocks that are heavily traded and they're not kind of the under the radar stocks, which are certainly have their place, but I'm looking for more liquid stocks and stocks that have been around and traded for a while. Generally speaking, because they have a more liquid options market, but also because if I'm looking to make an investment, I want a proven company with proven fundamentals. And then the last thing I'll use here on Thinkorswim is, let's just take a look at Big Lots. I'll use this analyze page. You can see across the board here, all the quote unquote analysts are saying to reduce or sell your position. But based on my analysis, that isn't exactly accurate. And just for fun here, I'll just go ahead and show you really quickly. You can see the rating accuracy of many of these is quite low. This one's actually quite high. But if you've taken the time to look at those, you'll know that their rating accuracy isn't the best. And I can't see right off the top on this one where the accuracy is. Anyways, it's on here somewhere because I've looked at these many times. But their recommendation is to hold at least as of whatever day, March the 13th. So you can go through those if you choose to. But again, they're all kind of listing you to sell or reduce. Whereas my analysis said that it was a buy, and you can see this week it's actually gone up. Let's see, the 11th. So this week it's actually gone from down about 31 to about 39. So really a great week for Big Lots. But you can see overall it's been in a downtrend, which isn't particularly ideal. But what I look for when I'm looking to make an investment, just me, is I want to see stocks that have been beaten up for a little bit and are on the way down. And try to catch them, because you see it's hard to know when the bottom's going to be in. You can see here it actually bottomed out in 2020 when the whole market kind of crashed. But from there, it went from a low of 10 all the way up to $73.23. So you could have 7 times your money, over the course of essentially a year, a little bit more than a year. Right there. So when I'm looking to make an investment, I'm of course got a time horizon of greater than a year, possibly forever. And again, it's hard to know exactly when the right time to get in, when the bottom is there. So I never support, and I don't do it in my own trading. I don't support, let's say you had $1,000 you want to invest in Big Lots. I wouldn't suggest putting, all 1,000 in day number one. I would start a little bit of a buying program, because even if the stock starts to move higher, it starts to trend upwards, you're still going to have a few shares down here at the lower price. You get a few more at a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, and just kind of scale into your position that way. That's how I do it. I'm sure there's 1,000 different ways you could do it, but that's the way I've always done it. And then, of course, if I have a profit target, I will exit at that point. If at any point it falls down below and I reanalyze it here on the investment analysis sheet and it doesn't look favorable, then I'll get out. But that's pretty much it at this point. I'm just going to go through and pick a random company from the analysis scan that I ran, and we can just scan it here so you can see it returns 30 to 40, maybe sometimes upwards of 50 different companies. So it does skim through there pretty good. And again, I'm looking for dividend companies that have an options market that are optionable. You can see I'm only scanning in the optionable markets. and then I'm looking for just quality companies that have a lot of volume. So I'd start at the top of the list. It looks like Hewlett Packard here, or HP. I don't think they go by Hewlett Packard anymore, but it kind of shows you my age there. And then Intel, just a number of recognizable names on the list. And we'll run through there, and I'll just kind of pick one that I think looks good, maybe the one with the highest dividend, and I'll do the analysis on it. As always, if you guys have questions, feel free to reach me at OptionBoxer.com or in the comments below. But all right, stay tuned. I'm going to run through this really quickly. Okay, with all the data entered, hopefully you were able to follow along with that. Okay, so that covers it for all of that. The current decision is a buy. If we were interested to start owning shares, you could kind of start that purchase plan I talked about, or that's what I would do and what I probably will do. Also, while we're talking about it, let me just go to my website. I added something that I think you guys will like. I created this investment locker and this options locker, so you can kind of follow along with the trades that I'm making. Again, not suggesting you do the same, but just to kind of show some transparency. You can see I've got it connected to a Google document that I created, so any trades that I enter in there, you'll be able to see kind of the performance of those trades. I've allocated $10,000 to each different account there, both the investment log or both my investments and my options, and that way you can kind of watch and go along with me. That's not my actual account balance, but that's just how much I'm going to track based on this investment locker and this options locker. So hopefully you guys like that, and I just wanted to show it to you now. But let's run through this really quickly. So what I normally do, if I'm looking at this and I see, okay, right now it's a buy, so I could start my purchase program starting as soon as I'm ready or as soon as the market's open. So I could go into Thinkorswim or Robinhood or whichever platform I'm using, and go ahead and put my order on the books to start buying. But what I like to do is I like to come over here and just start moving the price down. So let's say price went to 42.50. And what I'm looking for is I want to see when this number changes. I want to see when this number goes higher. So in my mind, the reason I do that, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But the reason I do that is because when the number goes higher, yeah, you got to think if international paper is on, some hedge fund or some watch list somewhere, it's not until it gets down to a certain price before they think it's more attractive to start buying it. So it's already a buy decision, but let's say it went down to 40. Okay, so if this share price, let's go up to 41. Okay, so let's go 40.50, 40.75. Oh, 40.25. Sorry. So if this share price gets down to around $40.25, which currently it's at 45, it's about another 10% decline from where the price is currently at, and it certainly seems reasonable to think, given the downtrend, that we'll probably get there. But you can see here it also bounced off of the 40-45 area. So again, that's why I say at that price it would be more attractive to maybe the bigger investors that are seeing it and they're doing the same fundamental analysis with the same data that we have. And they're saying, okay, well, it's gotten down to a level where now it is more attractive. You can also kind of extrapolate this out to say, okay, well, if price just collapsed, at what price per share would it be as good as attractive as an investment offer as it could be? So let's go down to 35, and again, now we're just looking for it to go up to $8 or to 8 on the buy rating, and sometimes you have to go down really low before it gets to a price that it thinks is. So $20, which isn't reasonable given the fact that it would have to absolutely collapse and it would have to fall by more than 50%. I don't think is reasonable. Now, longer term, it could continue trending lower. But for me, this is an investment I'm looking at, and this is kind of how I go about it. And lastly, if I haven't shared this with you, I'll leave a link in the description. This investment analysis spreadsheet is available for you via the OptionBoxer Analyze and Journal spreadsheet. I think it's also available just in the analyzed version of the spreadsheet. So if you're curious to get your hands on it and kind of play around with it like I've just kind of done here today, then I do encourage you to do that. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at OptionBoxer.com or in the comments here. I truly appreciate you guys watching, and God bless you, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.